Good morning, friends. It's a beautiful day. We're at the end of October here. I've got my friend Tyler with me again this morning, so if y'all will just be patient with me. He's getting some exercise again. It's good for him. Today I just wanted to touch lightly on something I've noticed a lot lately, and it's how everything in our society these days is trauma-informed yoga teaching, trauma-informed therapies, trauma-informed this, trauma-informed that. And I think it's a really interesting thing, and this is totally my opinion, and you guys are more than welcome to disagree with me. This is what's beautiful, is we can all have our own perceptions about things. But the way that I teach personally I prefer not to focus on the trauma that we have endured. We've all endured different levels of trauma. It's not for me to judge one trauma over another trauma. Something that may have been very potentially unchallenging for me, not traumatic at all, be very traumatic for another individual, and vice versa. What triggers me, what's traumatic to me, may not be very traumatic to another person. And we all have different levels of experiencing the world, experiencing our environment, different sensitivity levels of our being. All of these things contribute to how we perceive and experience the world if we are taught to view it from those eyes of our wounds, if we are taught to view it from the eyes of our trauma. And this is where I have a problem with it, is that every choice then we make, every word we speak, everything that we do is informed by our trauma. We're motivated by the past experiences that we've had in our current moment. We're consciously always drawing ourselves towards that understanding of our being and that experience that we had that perhaps we feel shaped us in some way. I prefer to think that our trauma never changes us because we are always perfect. No matter what we experience, we're never broken. We're never less than. We're never a part of ourselves. Our soul doesn't leave our body because we have experienced trauma. We are always one entity, one divine entity, one expression of God, Source, Great Spirit, universal energy, however you choose to perceive that higher energetic force of being. We are that. Because I am that, my nature can never be anything other than whole, complete, all the time. It is only ever my perceptions that tell me perhaps that I am less than, that it changed me in some way, the experiences that I've had in my life. I choose not to believe that. I choose to believe that no matter what happens in this projection, that I am always, always, always whole and complete. Always, always, always that. I can never, by definition, be anything less than that. And so I choose to always be motivated by love and the truth of my being, which says that I am, which accepts all of the truths that come from that understanding of my being. That I'm never broken, that I'm never less than. I'm not saying that we don't have horrific experiences in our lives sometimes that do impact our experience here in this time and place. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that sometimes, those traumas cut so deep that the work is tremendous that we have to do to remember who we are. To remember that no matter what happened to me, no matter what experiences I've had, no matter what has occurred in my life, that I am always, always, always whole, that I'm always complete. And I feel like this trauma-informed stuff that we're doing, I think it can be detrimental to our experience in some ways, because it's a constant reinforcement of the fact that you are traumatized and that this is something that you're always going to carry with you. And I don't believe that to be true. I believe that I can always tap back into that divine expression of my being and remember that no matter what happened to me, I'm never anything other than that. I'm always still the divine. I'm always God expressing itself in this human form. I am always that first and foremost. And so it's something that I think, it can be assisting to some people, but we also have to be careful how we deliver that message, right? Because we don't want to reinforce to our people constantly that they're broken, constantly that they're traumatized. We want to offer always hope and inspiration that will uplift them and help them to remember what and who they are. And that's always my goal with you guys. Always, always, always. It's that same thing of like that quote that says, let me pull it up. Can't remember off the top of my head right now. If you don't heal what hurt you, you'll bleed on the people who didn't cut you, right? I don't want to gush blood for the rest of my life. I don't want to constantly be bleeding on myself and bleeding on everybody else. All of these things that happen to us, yes, they can be full of horror, but sometimes we have to look at that stuff and it's our job, my responsibility to heal the wound, right? To do the work of constantly reminding myself who and what I am and that my truth is not contingent upon what happened to me or the experiences that I have here. I don't want to go through my life believing that I'm less than. I don't want to go through my life believing that the situations that have occurred have somehow shaped me or formed me into something other than what I fundamentally am, the truth of my being, which is always there, always true. It will never change, no matter what. And I prefer to think of myself on those terms. I prefer to uplift and support the people in my life in that way, to help them to remember, to help them to see, to step into their power, to take control of the aspects of their experience that they have control over, which is their response. Instead of staying in this trauma response, coddling this traumatic response, I would rather step into my power and move forward in a way that uplifts me and supports me and reminds me of who I am and connects me to the power of my being. And so I see this happening a lot lately, and it's just something I'm touching on because I think it's an important conversation to have. And I just am interested also in hearing your own perceptions of what you think about this trauma response stuff, what do you think about the way that people are teaching all of these classes that are trauma response and handling people that with this in this manner of like, the trauma response and all of these things. And I'm not saying clearly that we don't have compassion and empathy for all of the people in our lives. What I am saying though is that we don't accept that truth, that that's now me, that this has changed me, that I'm something other than I used to be because of it. No. And I've heard different ways of people, I've heard some people teaching in a way that embraces the trauma response without emphasizing that aspect of their being, so to speak, and also connecting them back to their power. But I've also seen it where people coddle and project this image that you're always going to be this now, you're always broken, you're always that, you're always this, And so I think there's a fine line there when we're teaching and how we express that with the people in our lives and our children and our friends, So this isn't just for teachers, clearly. This is about like how we interact with people in our life experience, And something just because it's become like a popular term or a popular way of managing their students, I think that doesn't necessarily mean it's always right, in all the ways. So I think it's much more important that we offer people the hope and inspiration, that we connect them back to their power, that we direct them back inside their own teacher, their own healer, their own guru, to remind them of the truth of their being, the great power that comes from that inheritance of being the child of the divine, of God, of Mother, Father, God. So it's just an interesting thought that I've been having recently. I thought I would mention it here. Just something to note, as we do connect to people in our lives that have experienced great trauma. I deal with it constantly. I'm constantly working with people who have experienced great trauma in their lives, and this is the direction that I have come to believe is the most servicing for them, the most helpful, the most uplifting. So leave me a comment, and talk to me about it and tell me what you think about it. But today we're going to move into our slow flow practice. So let's go ahead and get started. While we're in our practice today, as we're thinking about this, thinking about our own trauma, and is it something that I coddle within myself? Is it something that I maintain, this victimized part of my being, that I am a victim, that I am traumatized, that I will never grow beyond this trauma, that there's nothing for me that I can shift into my power, or that I'll never be as powerful as I want to, or anything of that nature. Am I doing that to myself, or am I connecting to the truth of my being? Am I saying to myself, yes, I am that divine expression of being. I am whole and complete all the time, always. I am limitless. I am in my fullest expression of power all the time. There's nothing that can ever happen to me at any point in my life that would ever take away from that truth of my being. What am I reminding myself about who and what I am? These are the kinds of thoughts that create the foundation for how we speak to ourselves, the choices that we make. All of these things are the expression of the manifestation of your life. This is what you're choosing. So what am I choosing, right? Am I choosing the things that make me feel empowered and uplifted? Or am I choosing to view myself in a way that says I am broken, that I'm traumatized, that I need extra attention, or that I need extra this or extra that, to make sure that I can function in my life. And all of these things that I'm resourcing outside of myself to fill the hole, as opposed to coming back to that interior aspect of my being where I am in my greatest sense of power, right? So just thinking about that with yourself today, thinking about the communications that you have with the people in your life. What do they look like? How do I speak to them? What am I offering them as far as inspiration and hope? Am I always directing people back to that power that exists within their own being? Am I always informing them of that? Your power, your strength, your truth of being that never changes, right? So let's be thinking about those kinds of things on our mat today, or whatever else it is that's on your mind and on your heart that you perhaps need some resolution for, you need some guidance, you need to connect to your own spirit so that you can hear those answers that are going to direct you in the way that's going to draw you towards the heart's desires, listening for that inspiration and that part of your being, that soul space that has all of the answers, right? So dropping the shoulders back and down, long through the spine, lengthening through the crown of the head, breathing into the body. Equal length of inhalation to exhalation. Really slow and gentle. Whenever you're ready, opening up those eyes. We're going to take those arms up, elbows aligned to the shoulders, palms of the hands are forward. Inhale, twist to the left. Exhale, twist to the right. Keep it going. Come back to center. Inhale nice and deep. Take those hands, those elbows together to touch in prayer pose. Hands come under the chin. Inhale. Lift those arms up, draw the hands away from each other, lifting the gaze towards the sky if it feels safe on your neck. Exhale, take it back down to center. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Never pressing into pain or tingling or numbness. Taking care of the body and moving in a way that feels the most comfortable and supportive. Take those hands back into center. Prayer pose, drop them down into the heart space. Keep the eyes closed and breathe into the body. Open up those arms. Palm of the left hand is going to face upward towards the sky. Palm of the right hand is going to be down towards the earth. Twist those arms. I don't want to go too far with it. So that the palms of the hands face the opposite direction. And keep it going. This is really good for those tendons in the arm. Now tiny circles forward. Taking them larger. And smaller. Now taking those circles back. Larger. And smaller. Releasing those hands down onto those knees. We're going to inhale, shoulder shrug. Exhale, drop it back down into the socket. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Exhale, release. We're going to twist to the left side, left hand coming behind the left glute, right hand to the outside of the left thigh, twisting through the spine, gazing over the shoulder if it feels comfortable and safe on the neck. Take it to the opposite side, swing those arms. Right hand comes behind the right glute, left hand to the outside of the right thigh, this time gazing over the right shoulder. And untwisting the spine, taking those hands back on top of those knees. Close the eyes and breathe into the body one more time. And then coming up onto those hands and knees whenever you're ready in that tabletop position. Just starting by shifting those hips from side to side for a moment. We're going to come into those deep sweeping hip circles. So dropping those hips to the right side, releasing the glutes back towards the heels, swinging it to the left, forward, keep it moving. Inhaling from the front to the back and exhaling from the back to the front. Take it the opposite direction whenever you're ready. Inhale, come back up onto those hands and knees. Beginning on the right side, we're going to inhale, lift up through the right leg. Exhale, drop the knee back down towards the earth. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Keep it moving. Release the knee down, take it to the opposite side. Inhaling up and exhaling down. This time we're going to take that knee in a circular motion. Inhale as you kick that heel up behind you. Exhale as you take it around. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Keep it going. Moving that knee, that circle in towards the body. Release the knee down into the mat, taking it to the opposite side. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Child has no idea what's going on here. Release that knee down into the mat. Take the knees towards the edge. Press the glutes back towards the heels. Stretch the arms out as far as you can towards the top of the mat, releasing the head and the heart into the earth. Breathing into the body. Relaxing into the earth. Inhale and rise up into tabletop position. Curl your toes under. Press the hips into the sky. Downward facing dog. Breathe into the body. Pedal out those legs if you need to. Strong body, strong alignment in this posture. Remembering that every movement is a waking prayer, honoring the temple of your own body, of your own being. And then gazing towards the top of the mat, floating or stepping towards those hands so that you can hang in your forward fold. Grounding through all four corners of both feet. And breathing into the body, shifting those hips side to side or keeping yourself in stillness. You can take pinkies in the opposite elbows or remain with those fingertips grounded into the earth beneath you. Listening to the body. This is where we start to listen to our own intuition, to listen to what the body needs, and then provide it. Responsible for my own body, responsible for my own being, giving myself what I need. Meeting my own needs can be so foreign sometimes when we're so used to putting other people's needs ahead of our own. Sometimes we don't even know how to come into posture in our yoga classes that feels the best to us because we're so used to putting other people's needs ahead of our own. It's not even a thought. It's what feels best to me. What do I need today? What is my body and my energetic expression communicating to me? What does my soul want? Keeping a gentle bend in those knees, go ahead and roll up through the spine, nice and slow, vertebra by vertebra. Head is the last thing to rise as the arms come overhead. Exhale, cactusing out the arms. Inhale, fingertips rising into the sky. Exhale, swan diving forward. Hinging forward from those hips. Sweep the fingertips across the earth as you draw those hands into prayer pose and inhale, half lift. Exhale, drop those fingertips back down into the mat and roll it up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, arms rise overhead. Exhale, swan diving forward. Inhaling, half lift. Exhale, release those hands down, roll it up one last time, arms coming overhead. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, fingertips rising up, and exhale, diving forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release those hands into the mat. We're going to move straight into our sun salutation. So continue to hang here in this forward fold for a moment. Remembering those sun salutations, build that solar plexus energy, that energy of how we perceive ourselves, how we view ourselves. So we really want to take the time to strengthen that aspect of our being all the time. And these sun salutations are perfect for building that strength within our own being. Once we move through these sun salutations, we're going to move into our archer pose, which is also about facing all of those challenges in our lives, right? Connecting to our own bravery, our own power. So inhale and rise up, arms coming overhead. Exhale, cactusing out the arms. Inhale, fingertips rise into the sky. Exhale, hinging forward from those hips. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, drop those hands into the earth and step or float back for your plank posture. And then exhaling, Chaturanga Dandasana. Keep those elbows tight towards the body. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. Step or float towards the top of the mat to begin again. One more together and then one more on our own. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, arms rise into the sky, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant those palms, step or float back for your plank posture, and exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhaling, upward facing downward cobra. Exhale, down dog. Step towards those hands or float to the top. One last time at your own pace. Add or take away anything that makes it feel special or perfect. Meeting in that mountain pose or Tadasana whenever you're through. Breathing into the body. Continuing to ground through all four corners of both feet. Connected, remembering this is my time, this is my place.
This is my time. This is my place. To live in strength and power. To honor the truth of my being. To step into that co-creative role and manifest my heart's desire. Not the results of my trauma, not the results of my wounds, but my strength, my power, my heart's desire. We're going to move straight into that archer pose. This archer pose is such a beautiful posture to connect to that brave spirit, to hunt down all of those aspects of our being that are not serving us, so that we can step fully into the power of our being. So we're going to step forward with our left foot. We're going to step back with our right. Take those hands. Thumbs are going to be pointed upward as you curl the fingers into the palm. Press the left hand out. Make sure you're sinking in to that posture for whatever depth feels most comfortable and safe. So your front knee is going to be stacked on top of your ankle. The back foot is planted into the mat at a 45-degree angle with the toes pointed out towards the edge. Pressing that left hand forward, gazing over the thumb. You're going to lift that back elbow as you draw that bow nice and tight for that archer pose, and then continue to sink into that posture in whatever way feels the most comfortable and safe. Making sure that that front heel is either dissecting the arch of the back foot or in alignment with the heel. And now breathe into the body. And gaze at the thumb. Exhale, release those arms. Take both toes towards the side of the mat so we can take it to the other side. Pointing those toes towards the back wall. Come into that comfortable posture where that front knee is stacked on top of the front ankle. Take those hands up towards the chest. Thumbs are pointing directly upwards. Press the right hand forward. Draw that left elbow up. Gazing over the thumb. Breathing into the body. Nice and strong. Shoulders are resting in the sockets, not drifting up towards the earlobes. Spine is nice and straight. Hip points are pointed forward. Feel how much strength is inside of you. Feel that God energy rising up inside of your being, remembering it's the primary aspect of who and what you are, not the secondary. It's not something you strive for. It's not something you wish to achieve. It is always there with you all the time, no matter what. That is who you are. I am that. Lengthen through the front leg. Release those hands down. Toes come back to the side. Prasarita, 5-pointed star. Open up those arms. Exhale. Hands come behind the back. Clasp those hands. Interlock those fingers. Draw the fist away from the glutes. Inhale, lift the gaze towards the sky. And then exhale, hinging forward from the hips, releasing the crown of the head towards the earth, lifting the fists into the sky. Really slow and gentle. Bend through those knees. Use your core strength to inhale and rise up. Take those toes out at a 45-degree angle. Open up those arms. Palms of the hands come towards the sky. Bending through those knees. Rooting the tailbone towards the earth, but keeping the pelvis tucked underneath the body for that goddess pose. Visualizing you're holding the moon or the earth in those hands. Sink it down a little bit lower if it can. Drop those hands inside of those thighs. Fingertips are in towards the body. We're going to release our right shoulder down, twisting through the spine. You can gaze over your left shoulder if it feels comfortable in the neck. Untwist, come back to center, take it to the opposite side, dropping the left shoulder in this time, gazing over the right. Inhale, come back to center and rise up, lengthening through those legs, walking those feet back together. Inhale, arms coming overhead. And then exhale, fierce pose. Keeping that pelvis once again tucked underneath. Lifting those arms up into the sky, biceps hugging the ears. Breathing into the body. Inhale, rising up. We're going to come into that dancer's pose. So keeping those arms lifted overhead, circling that right arm forward 3 times. Then taking it back. You can always use the wall if you need to. Right elbow comes into the hip crease, palm of the hand facing up, thumb towards the back wall. Kicking up through the right leg, bend the knee. Reaching for the inside of that foot. We're going to reach and kick with equal opposition. This is where you can use a wall, placing your left hand into the wall, and then kicking forward. So just listen to your body. If you want to go and try the full expression, then that's great. Oh, I'm going. This is a posture of joy. Inhale, come up. Pedal out those legs so we can take it to the other side. Inhale, arms come overhead. Exhale, take it forward 3 times. Inviting that energy of joy back into our life. Take it back. Kicking up through the left leg. Whenever you're ready, reach and kick with equal opposition. Inhaling up, release that foot, drop the arm down, paddle out through the legs. This time arms come overhead. And then exhale, hinging forward from those hips, reaching forward with those fingertips, lifting up through the right leg. You can take those arms back in flight here, or keep them forward. Inhale, rise up, release that foot back into the mat, pedal out the legs. Nice deep inhalation, and then exhale, hinging forward on the opposite side. One side is usually easier than the other. You can keep that toe grounded into the earth if you need to. Inhale and rise up. Exhale, release those arms, pedal out those legs. Inhale, arms come overhead. Exhale, cactus out the arms. Inhale, fingertips rising into the sky. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhaling, half lift. Exhale, release those hands down into the earth, rolling it up. 2 more times at your own pace. Move at your own pace, as slow or as fast as you need to. Hands come to heart center. Breathe. And inhale, arms come overhead. Exhale, release those fingertips into the earth and drop the glutes down towards the heels, releasing the glutes all the way down into the mat. Bend those knees so that we can come into the Navasana or boat pose. Arms spreading the legs. Long through the spine. Inhale, lifting up through one leg. And then the other. For that boat pose, you can lengthen through the legs. And breathe into the body. The shaking is good. We're resetting the nervous system, so don't resist. And then exhale, super slow, grace and ease, releasing the feet down into the mat. Take the spine slowly with grace and ease all the way down into the earth, vertebra by vertebra. Take those hands underneath the glutes. Inhale, lift those legs into the sky. Tiny circles towards the left. Tiny circles towards the right. Open up those legs, crossing the right foot over the left. Pull them back out, left over the right. Continue to scissor those legs side to side. Legs come back up. Exhale, release the heels all the way down into the mat, the feet, the soles of the feet. Release those hands out from under those glutes. Pull the knees into the chest on the next inhalation. Holding on to just the right leg. Inhale, lifting up through the left. Exhale, take it down, super slow. Reaching out through the right arm. Left hand comes outside of the right leg and pulls it across the body for your supine twist. Gazing over the right fingertips if it feels safe on your neck. You can rotate through that elevated ankle or remain in stillness. Untwisting the spine, really slow, grace and ease. Realigning the body. Take the knees back into the chest. Holding on to just the left leg. Inhale, lifting up through the right. Exhale, nice and slow, take it down. Reaching through the left arm. Right hand comes outside of the left leg. Pulls it across. Gazing over the left fingertips now if it feels safe on the body. Untwist the spine, realign the body, knees come back into the chest. Happy baby posture. Grab onto the outside edges of those feet, knees come into the armpits. Gentle movement, remaining in stillness. Whenever you're ready, release those feet. Taking any last postures that you might need to complete your practice today, or relaxing into your final Shavasana corpse pose. Lengthening through the body, allowing the feet to fall to the side, sinking into the breath. Palms can be face down into the earth, face up into the sky. It doesn't serve society if we see ourselves for who and what we are. If we're no longer seeking to fill the void from outside of the self in. If we're no longer imprisoned in a self-imposed cage that keeps us from accessing the desires of our heart, which surely includes massive positive change. And this is where we have to dig deep and remember who we are. Remember the truth of our being. To recognize we're never alone. We always have a host of spirits supporting and uplifting us. And that spirit world is far more real than the projection that we are experiencing, what we refer to as reality. And it's so brave. It takes so much courage to face the facts, to stare loss in the face, to bare your heart, to let it bleed. But it's the only way to cleanse your wounds. We just don't live there. We don't identify ourselves by them. We don't allow them to change us fundamentally into something that we're not. To make us believe that we are weak, that we are fragile, that we are victims. No. We then do the work of remembering who we are, empowering and strengthening our being from within that truth of who and what we are, that ultimate truth of I am. Remembering that there's nothing that can ever take away from that. Ever. It's all in your mind. The view of yourself, the view of who and what you are. So be sure the thoughts you think, the words you speak, and the actions you take reflect the truth. The I am. Everything changes when you begin to truly see yourself. You no longer send out that energy of desperation that needs to be felt from the outside. You become a powerful source within yourself that attracts the same type of energy. And the more you love who you are, the less you seek the validation and the approval and the needs to be filled from outside of the being. And you learn to go within for everything that you need. Remember who you are and the power that exists within that space. Start to come back to the body, wiggling the fingers and toes. Wrapping the hands around the feet around the ankles. Taking any gentle stretches, full body stretches, side stretch, cat stretch. Rolling over onto the right side in the fetal position. Affirming I am that I am. Pressing into the palm of the left hand whenever you're ready, drawing yourself upright to a comfortable seated position whenever you're ready, so that we can complete our practice today with 3 long Sat Nams. Sat Nam, I am truth, truth is my name, truth is my identity. Hands come into prayer pose at heart center. Inhale, nice and deep. Exhale fully and completely. Inhale to begin. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for being present with me week by week. Please don't forget to leave me comments. I love to read your comments. I love to hear what you have to say about things. You know, my goal is never to indoctrinate you to a certain perception or to open you up to the way that I see things, just to open up new conversations that allow us to engage in our lives more consciously based off of our own personal truth. So perhaps something I say isn't necessarily true for you, but it points you in the direction of what is and allows you to live in a more fulfilled way through that expression of your own being, through your own unique truth. So thank you for showing up. I love you guys so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. Until then.